this meeting to order.
Roll call, Mayor Juarez.
Here.
President Newmiller.
Here.
Council Butcher.
Here.
Council McCarthy.
Here.
Council Sutherland.
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve this consent agenda.
Second.
How does council vote?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Anyone for open discussion? Don't all fight over it. Ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 836, first reading, revision to section 6.03.040 kennel cattery requirements.
I move that we approve ordinance number 836 on a first reading.
Second.
Is there any discussion? How does council vote?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Resolution number 2026-09, a resolution regarding water and sewer lien notices.
I make a motion we approve resolution number 2026-09.
Second.
Any discussion? How does council vote?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Resolution regarding internet merchants and unsolicited salesmen licenses.
I move that we approve resolution number 2026-10.
Second.
Is there any discussion? When we look back at this, I think the intent was to really dial back the amount of door-to-door salesmen that were going through mills, and they made it really strict. My concern is that if we lift it to this level, we might revert back to everybody coming through with their cat, dog, and whatever. So I don't know how council feels about maybe tabling this for further discussion. In my opinion, it's substantially decreased the amount of people knocking door to door. The existing policies and how hard they are to, get a door-to-door license. So do we want to lift that? I don't know, do you guys have any input?
I think you do. I think some of the stipulations that were put on that are a little bit too stringent and stuff that we don't necessarily want to be dealing with anyway.
Yeah, I think
I mean, there's sections of that we don't want to try and control.
definitely the out-of-state. I mean, here's the problem. We're requesting that they complete an in-state background check for Wyoming, but if they don't live here, there's not going to be much.
We don't want to be drug policies and background checks. We don't want to house that stuff here. We don't want to regulate that as the business's issue. Now that they have a business license and a temporary use, and I think all that stuff is staying there, that's fine. And as long as they're saying that they have that, that puts them liable, not us. The object here is to push liability and allow enterprise in it ultimately.
So I'd like to table it, is that what you're saying? Is that what you're suggesting?
I think Pat Holscher mentioned that if the original ordinance had something to do with different approvals. I'm trying to remember what he said. Between he and I, we had several different conversations today.
I think the ordinance didn't include the Wyoming background check or the driving record, but it did include it on the application, and that's what we were trying to get away from.
It was off the application.
Yeah, it wasn't so much in the ordinance itself, it was just on the application.
Yeah, because I just remember they needed to have a business license.
But they don't, because they're not
Because
running their business in mills.
but
They
it-
still have
but
to
it- But it was
apply.
like a temporary.
Right. And because we ran into this week with the Utah company that came in
Yeah.
for visionary, so.
And this is the company that's been knocking on people's doors at 9, 10 o'clock at night.
I have not heard that.
You see it on Facebook.
Okay.
I'm not saying you're
So-
wrong.
So the intent of this, I think, was to limit that so that they had to come in and get a license, and they had to show that they were a legitimate company, and then they had to follow within certain rules, such as not knocking on doors at 10 o'clock at night. So
Sun up, sundown.
as long as those things are happening, then this should move forward, I think.
Yeah, if you guys feel good with it. In worst case, we can go back and put the restrictions back on when we deeply regret all of the catalog salesmen and Kirby vacuums and all that stuff. So, yeah, so any other discussion? All right, how does council vote? Aye.
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 Motion passes. I have a motion to go into an executive session personnel.
Move that we go into executive session for a personnel issue.
Second?
How does council vote?
Aye.
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 Motion passes.
I can wait,
Yeah, all those things that they're trying to keep me in.
All of council has returned from an executive session. Personnel, no actions necessary.
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
How does council vote?
Aye.
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 Aye.